Joining me now on the set of the Sports Zone here is Blake Froling from ESPN UP. Blake also calls the games for the Westwood Patriots. So Blake, there was a lot of impressive performances in week one of the postseason, but I don't know if there was a more impressive performance than the Westwood Patriots going downstate versus Elk Rapids, beat them 30-0. As that game was unfolding, were you surprised at how dominant the Patriots were? Were you shocked? What were your thoughts?
Well, they played the same game they've been playing all year, so that part of it didn't surprise me. For the Elk Rapids side, they were a very good football team on paper. I mean, they went 7-2. They had more playoff points than Westwood, so the fact that it was 30-0 probably surprised me a little bit. But the way that Westwood did it, which was running right at them, smash mouth football like they've played all year, they stopped the run. That part of it didn't surprise me, just the way they were able to totally dominate the game. That one did surprise me a little bit.
Talk about that run game. Ashton Bergman, I think he had 200 yards, a couple touchdowns. Taylor Delangelo, 162 yards. Talk about that run game and how important that run game is going to be against Lake City, the team they have coming up in round 2.
Well, that's their bread and butter. I mean, everything starts and ends with the run game when you talk about Westwood. And first of all, you have to give credit to that offensive line, because if you watch that game, if you see some of the highlights of those big runs, a lot of that is those two, Bergman and Delangelo, running through holes that are 5 yards wide. That offensive line with Sam Gillis and all those guys, it's phenomenal the way they're able to do that, and it makes the job of the running backs a lot easier. They get to the second level of the defense when there's maybe one guy in front of them. They do the work there, and that's how they rip off all those big runs. So it's integral for Westwood's success to have a great offensive line, and everything just runs smoothly from there.
Defensively, they're going up against Lake City, undefeated in the regular season. Obviously a strong team making it to the second round of the playoffs. They run a spread offense, which is challenging to defend. They score in the 30s. They only allow 16 points a game. How is Westwood's defense going to have to attack this spread offense?
Well, they got to look at it last week. Elk Rapids runs a very similar offense. Maybe some of the personnel in Lake City a little bit more skilled, so that could pose some problems. And of course, Elk Rapids' quarterback went down on the first play of that game, so maybe they didn't see the full power of it. I think what Westwood really needs to work on this week is defending the deep ball. A couple times against Elk Rapids, they got burned, and the Elks were able to rip off a couple of big plays because of it. And Westwood was tightened up in the red zone because there just wasn't that much room to work for the Elks, and short passes in the run game are what Westwood is really phenomenal at stopping. So if they can do that and they have an extra week to work on a similar offense, I think that's going to help them a lot, and I think they're going to be improved against the deep ball.
You talk about Elk Rapids' starting quarterback. He went down first play of the game offensively for the Elks. A lot of people might question just how good this Westwood team is. Obviously, with the quarterback going down, they didn't see the full Elk Rapids team. Also, during the regular season, the last playoff team the Patriots faced was Gladstone in mid-September. What do you have to say to those people who might actually question just how good the Patriots are this year?
Well, I think if you saw the game against Elk Rapids, you saw their backup quarterback was very good. Now, I don't know the difference between the two because obviously first play of the game we didn't get to see their starter, but I think even if they had their starting quarterback in, it would have made a little bit of a difference, but Westwood was still going to win that game because they still could not run the ball. They couldn't complete anything in the short range. It was just the deep ball that maybe could have made a difference. And if you watch Westwood throughout this whole season, you saw how much they dominated games, and those scores could have been way more lopsided if they didn't just run the clock out in the second half a lot of those times. So you could say maybe in the second half of the season the mid-pen was a little bit down, but I think they proved a lot of those people wrong by winning 30-0 against the Elks.
Blake, well, thank you for joining us on the Sports Zone. We're obviously going to be rooting for the Westwood Patriots, UP Power all the way. That game kicks off on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and you can hear it on 93.3 ESPN UP with Blake.